Some assault rifles in Warframe kinda tend to blend in to one another, mostly because they act the same way and well, do the same thing, though some stand apart from others. Hey guys, hello and welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today we're gonna be diving deeper into this Mastery Rank 7 primary weapon, the Karak Wraith. I'm gonna be covering a cheap build, something affordable that anybody can build, but of course we also have the classic endgame setup with a Riven. That being said though, please keep in mind that my builds and guides follow a new player friendly approach, simply because there's a ton of information here and I want anybody watching to understand how the weapon functions and how it should be built. So if you're a veteran of the game and already know most of this stuff, then please, bear with me. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the Karak Wraith. Let's have a look at how the weapon behaves without any mods equipped, and for that I'm simply going to be taking a couple of free shots. The Karak Wraith is a standard run-of-the-mill assault rifle when it comes to its handling. As you can see, the accuracy is pretty good, the fire rate is pretty strong, and you got a magazine size of 60. Preload is decent as well, so if you're looking for something more standard, more FPS classic, then look no further than the Karak Wraith. Let's jump into stats to see precisely what we're dealing with. Mod capacity is 60 out of 60, and if your Karak Wraith only has 30 out of 30, then jump into actions and install an Auto King Catalyst. The Auto King Catalyst can be found from alerts, invasions, or if you're lucky, from the daily sortie. As an alternative measure, you can pay 20 plat to have one plugged in. Next, my weapon has been formatted a total of 4 times, but this was done for the purpose of testing. For the weapon builds I'm recommending you guys, you can get away with about 2 format. Accuracy is 28.6, which is pretty standard, I would say, for assault rifles. That's pretty good. And when you're taking into account heavy caliber, it drops to 15.5. Now, this is subjective and it's gonna depend from player to player, but this accuracy to me is a tad low. It's still good to medium and short range shots, but as far as my preference goes, I'm gonna recommend against it. I do like my precision for the most part. Critical chance is low at 13%, and the multi is nice at 2.0x, so you're gonna get a lot of benefit out of additive after crit chance effects such as Arcane Avenger, for example. Fire rate 11.67 with a magazine of 60 and a reload of 2.0. This is solid. This is the image of solid. No need to mess around with the magazine or the reload speed from my point of view. Riven disposition 4 out of 5. We don't have a lot of members in the Karak family and they're not known to be extremely powerful, so therefore the weapon is not very popular. And since the weapon is not very popular, the Riven disposition is quite high at 4 out of 5, which means that the amount of stats on Rivens will be pretty high as well. Status chance is 25%, and this is kinda where the weapon shines, and I say kinda because then you have a look at the default damage, the IPS on the weapon, and the highest amount by far is going to be impact. Now that's a bit of a bummer because this is a high status weapon, but the highest amount of damage is impact, which will get in the way of you proccing whatever it is you want to proc, and impact currently in Warframe is not seen as the greatest physical type, let's call it like that. In any case, let's start slapping on some mods. Starting with mandatory mods, we got damage, serration, 165% extra damage. Heavy caliber, well, heavy caliber is really gonna come down to you guys if you're comfortable or not with the resulting accuracy. I'm not, so therefore I'm not recommending it. Next we're gonna go to multi-shot and we're gonna be slapping on split chamber with 90% and vigilante armaments with 60%. Considering the crit chance on the Karak Wraith, we're not gonna get a huge benefit out of the bonus on vigilante armaments, but that one most of the time is simply an afterthought. It's nice that it's there, but don't give it a second thought. 150% multi-shot total, so we're gonna be firing 2 bullets guaranteed with each and every shot, plus a 50% chance at a third bullet. Next we're gonna go into elemental damage, and elemental damage should always be applied on a weapon depending on circumstance. Where are you going, who are you fighting, etc. For example, if you're going up against the infested, they have 4 health types, each with their own unique vulnerabilities and resistances to damage. My recommendation against the infested is just to build heat. However, keep in mind that high level infested are weak to corrosive damage, so keep that one in mind as well. Now let's talk about the Corpus faction. They have big shields, and against shields you can build magnetic damage, but a smarter approach might be to build a gas or toxin, which bypasses their shields entirely and deals damage to their health. Just keep in mind that some Corpus units do have armor underneath those shields, so radiation in some cases, for example, if you're going index, although those are not exactly Corpus, you might want to build radiation. When it comes to the Grineer, these are recognized as being the toughest targets in Warframe because they have heavy duty armor, alloy which is weak to radiation damage, and ferrite which is weak to corrosive damage. Against Grineer, more often than not, your safest bet is to build corrosive, which is the elemental combo between electricity and toxin. So let's add some. Electricity with high voltage, 60-60 mod. Now basically 60% electricity and 60% status chance. We're working into the weapon strength, that is that status chance. And now we're gonna go to Toxin with Malignant Force. Now out of these two mods, only high voltage is a bit of a pain to get. Can be farmed from the mission Na Elgar on the planet Eris. You gotta find all the free secret caches, then upon extraction you got a 5% chance of getting this one or Shell Shock, and you will need both of them. Keep in mind that the grind on Na Elgar is pretty crappy in all honesty, so you might want to hit up the trade chat. This one currently on PC is going for about, I don't know, 40 plat, something like that. Please check Warframe Market for more appropriate prices. Next, we gotta really decide if we want to go hybrid or if we want to go full status. I tested both. Actually, I tested hybrid, I tested full status, I tested slash through the weapon's innate slash value because, for example, you can slap on Fang Fusillade and then your slash gets higher. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to reduce that stupid impact. And I also tested Hunter Munitions with all the crit I could slap on the weapon. None of these proved really good, to be honest. The one build that proved the best results was going hybrid more often than not. That's gonna be your best bet on the Karak Wraith. Going full into status didn't prove the best results simply because of that stupid impact, which once again gets in the way. It steals procs from whatever I want to proc. So we're gonna further increase our elemental combo and we're going to go hybrid. Crit chance, crit damage with point strike and vital sense. And while I'm fully aware that the resulting crit chance of 32.5 might seem like very little, this is still the build that gave the best results, so therefore that's what I'm recommending to you guys. Now we're also going to be increasing our elemental combo, but why is that? Why did we build Corrosive when what is the role of Corrosive anyway? Because you might not know. First of all, Corrosive gets a 75% damage bonus when you're shooting Ferrite armor, and that's only half the story. Keep in mind that Corrosive on a status proc, which again, this is primarily what the weapon does, applies status, will reduce enemies' armor regardless of the armor type. It will reduce alloy and it will reduce ferrite, although it doesn't have a damage bonus versus alloy, so keep that one in mind. Corrosive currently in Warframe is one of the best elemental combos together with Viral, so it's never really a mistake unless you know your targets are gonna have a damage resistance to Corrosive, and you can check that info out on the wiki. Now if I leave the weapon like this, I built it for status chance, but what exactly am I proccing anyway? Keep in mind that impact, puncture and slash, the physical types, have a 4 times greater chance of proccing over elemental types such as Corrosive. So while the 246 at Corrosive might suggest that it's prio number 1 on the pecking order, is not actually the case. If I multiply impact times 4, I'm gonna see it's about 360 something, 370. And puncture is at the same value as Corrosive. So in actuality, if I leave the weapon as is, the proc priority is impact, puncture and Corrosive, and then slash. If I add more Corrosive to the weapon with Infected Clip or Stormbringer, basically more electricity or more toxin, I'm gonna get that value up to 430, and now it's prio number 1 on the status proc picking order. There we go, I hope that made sense. I tried to make it as simple as I could. We're gonna be spawning in Corrupted Heavy Gunner level 120, and this is the build I'm recommending to you guys, and you will see that it does pack one serious punch. This is only MR7, and again the weapon is fully capable of tearing through some high level targets rather quickly, as you can see. It can't kill 2 targets in a single clip, which to be honest this is what I was after, but a full clip is more than enough to take care of a Corrupted Heavy Gunner level 120. What exactly are you gonna see these enemies? Not even in sortie free, to be honest. These targets can show up in endurance runs. Perhaps you guys like to go on MOT. Yeah, if you stay a while on MOT, then you're gonna see targets such as this. The weapon has plenty of power to take on everything in Warframe from my point of view. As long as you understand how weapons function, how status procs function, how crit and so on and so forth, everything functions, you're gonna be able to build most weapons in the game to take on whatever content. So keep that one in mind as well. Next, we're gonna move to our Riven setup, of course. We have a Kraken Visican, and this one has multi-shot damage on roll. Check out this beauty, absolutely bloody awesome. The amounts on this one are absolutely fantastic because of, again, that Riven disposition of 4 out of 5. I get a lot more multi-shot than Split Chamber, and I get a lot more damage than Serration. And you will see, because I have this Riven, I dropped the crit chance and crit damage, and I went for full Corrosive on the weapon. Infected Clip and Stormbringer together with Vigilante armaments. And we're gonna be testing the weapon out like this. With the Riven, well, with this specific Riven, my weapon is fully capable now of taking out 2 Corrupted Heavy Gunner level 120 in a single clip. As you can see, that took, what was that, 15, 20 bullets, something like that. 25 bullets. There you go. Easy peasy. Currently, Rivens for the Karak Wraith are not very expensive. You're looking at about 20 platinum rolls, something along those lines, because again, the weapon is not very popular. And to be honest, I don't blame anybody for not wanting to play it, because there's so many assault rifles, which once again, kinda do the same thing. Why would you want to play the Karak Wraith? From my point of view, this weapon has outstanding handling. Did you notice that the recoil is basically non-existent? That is a huge plus in my book. Ease of use of the weapon should always trump power from my point of view as well. Now there's one more thing that I want to do before going, bump up everything with Warframe buffs. And you might have saw that I did proc some arcanes there. Just so you know, I wasn't cheating. Is Arcane Fury, which is melee damage, together with Arcane Avenger, which did not proc because I wasn't getting damaged. Now as for my weapon specialist, it's gonna be Lady Mirage Prime. And let's check out what kind of buffs she's got. We got Rifle Amp, 27% extra damage to rifles. This is an aura, so everybody in your party will be receiving this benefit, and it is stackable ×4. If you're going up against Grenier, your best bet is Corrosive Projection. Just keep in mind that Rifle Amp will grant its benefit regardless of your target. When it comes to arcanes, these are a lot more impactful, and I highly recommend you guys head on over to Cetus and start farming those Eidolons. I know they seem a little bit intimidating, but take my word for it, there's not that much to the fight. On headshot, 10% chance for plus 120% damage rifles for 16 seconds. This one is farmable from the third Eidolon down on Cetus. Next, you can use Arcane Avenger. On damage, 14% chance for 30% crit chance for 8 seconds. This is a bonus additive after. So by default, the Karak Wraith has 13%. When this one procs, I'm gonna be getting 43%. So keep that one in mind. If you wanna lower your kill time significantly, then you can go for, where are you? Arcane, oh, let's just search for it. Acceleration. Now this one, on critical hit, 20% chance for 60% fire rate rifles for 6 seconds. And you might not think that the base 13% crit chance is enough to proc this one. It's more than enough, and you can go for this one as well. Just keep in mind that Arcane Acceleration can cause some severe ammo issues. So you might be forced into Carrier or Carrier Prime together with Ammo Case, and that will completely solve your problems. I'm gonna be going with Rage and Avenger. Avenger also is farmable from the third Eidolon down on Cetus. We're gonna unpause the AI so they can hit me and I can get my buff from Arcane Avenger, and of course Mirage's free ability for a massive damage increase, as well as her lovely clones. Now let's see what the weapon can do. As you can see, I'm able to shred through these targets with no problem at all. And again, this is only MR7. This weapon can be obtained from invasions, bit by bit. If you guys want to spare yourself the hassle and waiting for the invasions to pop whatever part you want, you can get it from the trade chat. The full set for the Karak Wraith costs about 70 plat, give or take, something along those lines. And that's pretty much gonna do it for the review. Don't judge a book by its covers. This weapon can be very powerful when modded correctly. And if you enjoy playing with the Karak Wraith, I don't blame you. She handles like a dream. And that's gonna do it for the review. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you have any feedback for me or would like to request a specific weapon review, then by all means leave it in the comment section down below. I can't realistically promise you that it will be done by next time or even within a week, because these reviews do take quite a bit of time. But I will be reading through each and every comment. Until next time, my friends. Bye bye.